All right, and welcome back to the dumpster fire that is my podcast. I'm here to break the stigma against moms who smoke. My name is Paige. I'm not going to do my long spiel. I'm a single mom of two. I started this podcast to break the stigma against moms who smoke and kind of show that we're not unlike any other moms. And I also talk a lot about mental health and my journey as a young parent. So, yeah. Before I get started, make sure to follow me on Instagram at Moms Who Smoke Podcast, on Twitter at The Moms Who Smoke, and on Facebook, we are Moms Who Smoke. Our podcast is available on YouTube, Spotify, and Anchor, and after each episode, as always, there is a survey link below the video that you can click on and leave your questions and comments for us anonymously. So, um, this week, I didn't really have a topic in mind, I guess. Like, I didn't have a specific thing that I wanted to focus on or something that I guess I was kind of going through to focus on. So I just sat down and I started writing. I wrote out what was on my mind, and it's not as structured as it usually is for the podcast, I guess. I didn't really write out a proper script. Um, but yeah, I just wrote out my thoughts and feelings, and I'm going to share them with you guys. So sorry if the lighting is off. I will fix that. I'm using a little lamp. Also planning on getting better recording equipment. I know I keep saying that, but it's on the list. So I want to do more of like a conversational episode with you guys. This lighting is really going to bother me. If you're listening to this on Spotify, I apologize. For those on YouTube, you're welcome. um, so yeah, I want to talk to you guys about coming out of quarantine and anxiety and how I'm finding new routine and balance and intentional time and all of that jazz. So, I don't know about everybody else, but the thought of social distancing ending and guidelines lifting, stores opening, people getting a little more laid back sends me into a spiral and gives me so much anxiety. When I think about allowing a new person into my circle or having really anybody around, my mind just spins with the possible connections that they've had, places they've been, places they could have picked up something. Um, it's just a lot. And I've never really been one to fear getting sick or fear sickness in general. Like being sick isn't really that big of a deal to me. But now it's something that just makes my anxiety spike. And it's so difficult because it's a constant mental flip between I'm going overboard and I need to calm down and I'm not doing enough and I need to do more. Um, Simple things like checking the mail or running to the corner store just to pick up smokes now feel like this big uh, trip that I have to prepare for. And it feels like complete chaos and panic, if I'm being honest. All these measures to stay safe have to be done before even the simplest trips. And it depletes my energy and the kids, honestly, before we even go out. Like, I just being so on top of them and having, you know, get the masks, get the sanitizer, talk to the kids about how we have to distance. It's just all the things that you have to run through in order to go and do these mundane tasks. Not mundane tasks, but you know what I mean, these daily chores. Um, but as we're coming out of the pandemic, I've started to notice that a lot of other people are struggling too, struggling to learn to socially interact again, struggling to physically and mentally be capable of going back to work 40 hours a week, um, struggling mentally, financially, emotionally, in general. And it makes me wonder if it's going to have an impact on our new quote unquote normal. Like, is it really healthy to work 40 hours a week? Is physical presence necessary in most jobs? I think we're about to see a massive shift in how people feel about working from home or remotely. And with that is going to come income changes, work hours being different, potentially more or less wage for each worker. You can see how quickly the thoughts can spiral. I, like many others, couldn't work through COVID because one, I have my kids and they're not obviously in school. Schools were shut down. And two, the anxiety surrounding bringing something into the house that could get my kids sick is debilitating. Um, as someone who constantly lives in a state of life or death kind of mindset, and is used to constantly talking myself down from these massive kind of pandemic size spirals. Um, while I handled it well this time, I also didn't at times. Social interaction definitely helped the most. And while being physically distanced from everyone, I had a good community of people that, whether it was my neighbor or through video chat, text, call, social media, almost anything, it gave me like a daily check in. So I didn't feel isolated or alone. I mean, at times I did, I guess, and everybody kind of feels that way, but I didn't feel like I was drowning on my own, if you know what I mean. Like I knew that I had a community of people around me, even though they weren't physically around me. Um, so that definitely helped tremendously, at helping me not feel so alone. But at the same time, the lack of physical contact did take its toll. It also gave me much needed time for self reflection and time to work on my endless to do list and time to work on myself and put the time that I needed into self care and, I don't know, organizing, cleaning and cleaning and cleaning and cleaning and doing fun things with the kids. And life almost got to a point of normal. And I kind of got used to this. We're home all the time. We're not going out to stores, which honestly was saving me a lot of money, other than I guess the price of some things going up. But like, it felt like we were finally kind of settling into this normal. Um, and in the back of my head throughout this whole time, I think I have had this worry of like how we were ever going to go back to normal, or if it was even a possibility, like if normal was even a thing anymore. Um, and now that we're at a point where things are opening and life is kind of restarting, um, I find my anxiety just as high as it was during the peak of the pandemic, or maybe not just as high, but very close, and very similar. It couples back to the fear of letting my guard down and bringing something into the house, kids getting sick, worst case scenario. It's also the anxiety of others not taking proper measures. And it's not like you can see if someone has um, COVID. It's not a visible thing. I mean, you can hear them cough, but that's not a telltale sign. You know what I mean? Um, so I don't know, it's just so overwhelming. And I guess this week I just wanted to share my anxieties and how I'm feeling about all of it. And let you guys know that you're not alone if you're also feeling that way. And I guess kind of convince myself that I'm not alone. Um, and I know that I've talked about routine and the importance of having balance, self care, etc. And just because I talk about it and these plans can be good in theory, that doesn't mean that I don't still struggle with it. More and more each day, I'm realizing the importance of routine and how it impacts my day and my emotions. Um, as all of this is ending, routine is kind of a thought on a lot of our minds, I think, from eating at regular times to getting the kids to bed on time, whatever the hell that even means anymore. I find myself stressing out about how to manage it all. And I find that the more time that I spend stressing, the more my routine is thrown off. So, for example, if I stay awake or stay up super late overthinking this, that, and the other thing, I'm exhausted the next day and I can't accomplish everything that I would normally accomplish. And it's just, a snowball effect. And as much as I absolutely used to hate hearing it when I was younger, um, it is about mindset. Mindset matters. And if you can separate yourself from those thoughts in the moment, then they're easier to move on from and may not have as many side effects or cause you to spiral as much. And of course, that's much easier said than done. I'm the first to admit that sometimes it just feels impossible and there's no way of dealing with it. And you just kind of curl up and break. And that's fine. It's okay to have times like those. Um, but I'm talking about the days that the possibility to push through it is there. And the more that you push through those, bad moments, and the bad days turn into bad moments, and the bad moments become easier to pass by, each day gets a little bit easier. And that doesn't mean that the hard days aren't just as hard. Um, but you kind of have this self reassurance that you've done it before and you can do it again, and you have the tools to do it. And like I said, sometimes that just goes to hell and doesn't work. But if you're consistent, it does make a difference. And I can see how it makes a difference. And it definitely plays a part in my life. So, yeah. After each, after each, sorry, I'm sort of reading, sort of not reading. Um, each day, I'm trying to build a little bit more on my daily and weekly routine, whether it's self care, cleaning, longer walks, or adventures with the kids, trying to go new places with them, or just walk different routes. Trying to add more physical activity and things that are good for us and that we enjoy. Um, this is actually the first summer in 3 years that I've had the kids. So as we transition into the summer and out of quarantine, I think it's important to keep a routine for them and keep them active and keep them learning and keep them exploring and I don't know, make it a fun summer. I'm super excited. I don't even have words. I'm just going to stutter through it because I'm so stoked to have these kids here for the summer and for all the stuff that we're going to do. Albeit a lot of things are closed, that doesn't mean that we can't go on adventures. And we love going out and picking flowers and um, going through walks down different paths and going and walking down the river and looking at all the shells and the rocks and walking by people's houses and seeing the decorations they have up in their windows. There's just so many things that I don't know, we thoroughly enjoy doing, and I'm trying to do more of those things because I think that that's really important. And also, from a mom's perspective, it tires them out the busier we are. So my nights are more relaxing if their days are busier. So 1 + 1 = 2. I'm sorry. Um, And the routine and the self-care that I'm building for myself directly impacts the kids because then I do have more energy and I'm focused and I can make plans and do things kind of in advance as opposed to, spur of the moment. And the effort that I'm putting in, and obviously with the help of our friend Mama Jane, um, it makes a difference each day. And it makes it almost easier on the bad days to challenge that thinking or moment because I know that I'm capable of moving past it and I know that I've done it before. Um, As for advice for when you're in those moments and, you know, you're finding it hard to just get past that thought, the biggest thing that I do for myself is I distract myself, whether it's with a chore that I really don't want to be doing but really needs done, something that when I finish, I know I'll feel some kind of accomplishment. And it can be simple things like picking up all the clothes in the house. Like, you would be surprised how many clothes are on the floor in my house. But if that's the one task that I choose to do, then that's what I choose to do. And if you're having a hard time focusing on things and completing a task, the best thing that I've taught myself, and I actually teach my kids this too, especially when you're cleaning, is if something is a complete disaster, like if a room just looks like a bomb went off, the easiest thing to do is pick one thing. So whether you reach down and the first thing you pick up is what you're doing, or you just make eye contact with one thing and you pick it up, start with that and get rid of all of that one thing or put all of that one thing away and then move on to the next thing. And if you do things literally one step at a time, one thing at a time, it's a lot less overwhelming to complete the entire task. And you feel a lot more accomplished when you complete the entire task because you're like, oh, look at all these individual things I did. Um, and it distracts your mind and kind of gets your mind going in a different way and not a negative way. Like I said, that doesn't always work. I'm very famous for when I feel overwhelmed, I'll pack a bowl, I'll go outside, have a bowl and a cigarette, and then I'll come back in and I'll choose a task to do, whether it's a craft with the kids, whether we're watching a movie, going for a walk, I'm cleaning, cleaning, cleaning. I don't really do a lot of painting. I do painting. Um, but, I just try and distract myself as best I can. And if you view life as moment by moment and day by day, it's a lot easier, especially when you struggle to with the thought of being here, I guess. Um, but yeah, that's kind of my thoughts for this week. So I hope that if you're still here and listening, that you've enjoyed my thoughts and my perspective on it. And if you feel the same, I'd love to hear from you, or I'm just glad that somebody else feels the same as I do. I don't know. life can get really overwhelming, and it's important to talk about the good things, but it's also important to talk about the bad things, and maybe not even the bad things, but the troublesome things and the things that take a little bit more effort and strength in our lives. So, yeah. And I also want to I'm going to do the weekly check in, obviously. But I do have some exciting announcements. So, the next couple episodes, I don't want to say sponsored, but I mean pretty much sponsored by the next two episodes will have sponsors, product sponsors. I'm going to share some super cool freaking products with you guys. I'm so excited. Obviously, completely cannabis related. And a bunch of people in my local community have reached out to me and asked if I'd like to try their products. And when somebody reaches out to me in that way, I absolutely want to promote them in every way I can possible. And this week, actually, I want to show you guys something that somebody gave to me recently. And I'll pop a picture up on the screen. Sorry if you're on Spotify. I will also post a picture on our social media. But Jen, that owns the business Happiness and, oh my goodness, words. Jen, who owns the business Happiness is Handmade, made me this beautiful keychain. And if you know me, you know I love keychains. I love getting different keychains from all throughout the world or different handmade things. It's just kind of my thing. And she didn't know that, and she brought this over one day, and I was so excited. So yeah, if you're looking for any cool little handmade customized items, definitely check her out. I will link her stuff down below. And yeah, that's what I have for our exciting announcement. I don't know. It's so cool to have so many of you reach out. And if you do run a small business or company and you'd like to have a product featured on the podcast, or you'd like to share your product, or for me to try it and review it, please let me know. I would love to. I would love to share your product with others. I'm all about supporting local and small businesses. And there's quite the community in the cannabis within the cannabis community, especially as a mother. But as I found such cannabis community is amazing and is filled with such amazing people and generous and kind people. And it's so cool to be able to connect with all of you guys and learn more about each of you guys. So I don't know, I'm super excited. All right, and then the weekly check-in. So, what day am I on? So this week my son turned 6. That spaced my mind because I actually recorded the night before his birthday, so it kind of felt like I recorded on his birthday. And the episode actually went live the evening of his birthday. Sorry it was late again. I apologize. But yeah, my son turned 6, so we had a super busy day of guests and shopping, and he got to go out to Walmart and pick out all of his own presents. Not all of his own presents. He was obviously this kid was spoiled, given so many gifts, but he also got birthday money, and my deal with him was, since we couldn't have a party this year, I was going to take him to the store and he could pick out whatever he wanted to buy, and that's exactly what he did, along with money from his grandparents and great grandparents, which was awesome. And yeah, it was a jam-packed day. My phone did not stop all day. That little boy is so popular and so loved, and he had a blast. And then the rest of the week, we've just kind of been, oh, his birthday was Friday, so Saturday, the days all just go together. We spent a few days swimming at my parents' house, and yesterday and today were the first 2 days that I kind of slowed down and was actually cleaning my house and trying to, like, I don't know, pick up the pieces from the weekend, I guess, because we were out so much. But it's been a really good week, a really busy week, and I feel like I'm learning so many things this week. This has been like a week of knowledge and education and good vibes, and I like it. So, yeah, that's all I have for this week's podcast, and I hope you guys enjoyed. And I will see you in our next episode. And I'm going to fade into the nothingness. All right. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram and Facebook because I'm planning a giveaway. It should be done this week at some point. But if not, next week's episode will be the announcement. So, all right. Have a good day, night, morning, whatever part of the day you're in. Have a good midnight. If it's, midnight or 2 a.m., like, thank you for listening to us at 2 a.m. if you're listening to us at 2 a.m.